Popular culture tells us old photographs are innocent windows into the past. They are not. Many freeze moments of violence, exclusion, and quiet cruelty that textbooks soften or omit. Each image reflects power, fear, and survival, often misunderstood, often misused. What you are about to see challenges comfort, not curiosity, and history will not explain itself easily. In 1929, automobiles passed daffodil fields beneath Mount Rainier. The image suggests harmony. Road construction displaced ecosystems and indigenous land claims. Law enforcement protected infrastructure, not preservation. The photograph documents modernity intruding gently at first, masking irreversible environmental and cultural disruption beneath scenic framing. A 1909 photograph shows a young woman removing bread from an oven inside a cramped home. Domestic labor defined survival, not tradition. Fire hazards were common, inspections rare. The image documents how daily nourishment carried constant risk, revealing how working-class households navigated danger, normalized by necessity rather than choice. In 1905, tourists posed beside balanced rock in the Garden of the Gods, Colorado Springs. The image suggests leisure. Rail access brought crowds, while indigenous histories were excluded from signage. Park authorities enforced preservation selectively. The photograph documents how natural landmarks were rebranded as spectacle, stripped of original cultural meaning. A 1940s photograph from Dublin's Cumberland Street shows slum housing in sharp detail. British authorities classified the area as temporary decay. It lasted generations. Police patrols enforced order, not improvement. The image documents urban neglect preserved through policy inertia, where poverty became a permanent feature rather than a solvable condition. During the Dust Bowl migration of 1935, families were photographed along highways with belongings piled high. California law enforcement established border checkpoints to block entry. The image documents internal displacement treated as threat, revealing how economic collapse transformed citizens into outsiders within their own country. An 1895 photograph shows Armenian women armed before confronting Ottoman forces. Foreign diplomats disputed reports of violence. The camera did not. The image documents civilians preparing for survival after state protection failed, revealing how resistance often emerges not from ideology, but from the absence of alternatives. In 1922, a father assists his son feeding a giraffe at the London Zoo. Colonial acquisition supplied the animal. Visitors saw curiosity, not extraction. Authorities regulated crowds, not sourcing. The photograph documents how imperial systems masked violence behind family entertainment and institutional legitimacy. A 1942 photograph captures Chicago's South Side residents dressed formally on a Sunday. Segregation limited housing and employment options. Police presence enforced boundaries quietly. The image documents dignity under restriction, revealing how presentation became resistance when systemic mobility was deliberately constrained by law and custom. In 1919, crowds gather beneath a street lamp on a foggy evening in London. Gaslighting symbolized progress. Smog and industrial pollution followed. Municipal authorities prioritized commerce over health. The image documents transition, capturing a city illuminating itself while simultaneously obscuring the consequences of its own expansion. A 1937 photograph shows children transported in baskets during a bus strike. Adults improvised safety. Authorities enforced labor policy, not welfare. The image documents how industrial disputes displaced risk onto families, revealing how infrastructure failure reshaped childhood into logistical problem-solving rather than protection. In November 1944, a German anti-aircraft gun is positioned in a Dutch town square. Residents were evacuated by police order. Civilian architecture became tactical terrain. The photograph documents occupation through spatial control, revealing how war asserts dominance not only through force, but through the redefinition of place. A 1910 photograph shows a girls' high school basketball team posing stiffly in uniform. Women's athletics faced institutional resistance and ridicule. School boards approved teams reluctantly. The image documents early challenges to gender norms, capturing competition framed as novelty rather than legitimacy within educational systems designed to limit physical autonomy. In 1912, Siamese twins Margaret and Mary Gibb were photographed together as medical subjects. Doctors debated separation publicly. The sisters refused. When Margaret died in 1967, Mary followed minutes later. The image documents autonomy in defiance of medical authority, preserving consent as an overlooked but central historical force. A 1942 photograph shows a young woman changing a tire in southeast Washington, D.C. Wartime labor shortages expanded women's roles temporarily. Police assisted traffic, not workers' safety. The image documents competence framed as emergency, revealing how capability was acknowledged only under necessity, then rescinded afterward. In 1900, an Indian woman is photographed carrying a British man on her back. The image was circulated as curiosity. Colonial hierarchy required no explanation. Law enforcement upheld racial order. The photograph documents domination disguised as novelty, revealing power relations normalized through visual spectacle rather than explicit violence. A 1934 photograph shows women standing on a train, taken by Boris Lipnitsky. Crowding was routine. Transit police enforced order, not comfort. The image documents urban compression, where movement itself became labor, revealing how industrial cities converted personal space into negotiable commodity. In 1907, a moose is photographed in the Yukon alongside a wolf in Dawson City. Settler narratives framed wildlife as threat. Hunting laws targeted predators aggressively. The image documents coexistence before eradication campaigns intensified, preserving a moment when expansion had not yet fully displaced ecological balance. An 1898 photograph shows smiling Victorian boys posing confidently. Child labor laws existed but were weakly enforced. Many worked long hours outside the frame. The image documents innocence curated for the camera, concealing economic exploitation normalized across class lines in industrial-era Britain. A 1920s photograph shows a grandfather standing with his horse in Boston, California. Rural life appears self-sufficient. Agricultural debt and land consolidation tell another story. Sheriffs enforced foreclosures. The image documents dignity amid precarity, revealing how stability was often an illusion maintained until eviction arrived. In 1919, women are photographed resurfacing Oxford Street with tar and flint. Municipal authorities framed the work as temporary necessity. Once men returned from war, women were dismissed. The image documents labor erased after usefulness expired, revealing how contribution did not guarantee recognition or continuity. A 1905 photograph shows an electric car charging. Early electric vehicles competed with gasoline. Policy favored oil infrastructure. Law enforcement regulated roads, not emissions. The image documents a technological path abandoned by choice, not limitation, revealing how progress is often redirected by power rather than innovation. An 1840s photograph identifies Mary Smith, a knocker-upper in East London. She woke workers by tapping windows with sticks or firing dried peas. Industrial schedules demanded punctuality without providing alarms. Police tolerated the practice. The image documents informal labor filling gaps, left by rapid industrialization and minimal worker protections. A 1930s photograph shows a Harley-Davidson tent pitched beside a roadside. Early automobile tourism lacked infrastructure. Travelers relied on improvisation. Law enforcement monitored vagrancy laws selectively. The image documents mobility before regulation, revealing a brief era when movement preceded control, and travel existed outside standardized commercial systems. In 1967, an Italian family is photographed traveling in a Fiat 500 packed beyond capacity. Economic recovery reshaped mobility across Europe. Traffic police often overlooked overcrowding. The image documents aspiration compressed into metal frames, revealing how post-war progress frequently outpaced safety standards and regulatory enforcement. A 1910 photograph captures an electric vehicle charging on a city street. Early electric transport was viable, quiet, and functional. Municipal authorities invested elsewhere. Oil interests gained preference. The image documents an abandoned future, revealing how infrastructure choices, not technology, determine which innovations survive. In the 1840s, Miss Mary McCandlish is photographed in formal attire. Women's professional identities were rarely recorded unless exceptional. Employment records remained scarce. The image documents presence without context, highlighting how women's labor histories were often preserved visually but erased administratively by design. An 1898 photograph titled "Hunger is the Best Cook" shows poverty framed as moral lesson. Reformers circulated such images widely. Police enforced loitering laws nearby. The image documents how suffering was aestheticized to promote discipline rather than reform, shifting blame from systems to individuals. A 1910 photograph of a New York tenement shows families packed into narrow spaces. Fire codes existed but were rarely enforced. Inspectors were understaffed. The image documents overcrowding as policy outcome, revealing how urban growth proceeded without parallel investment in human safety or dignity. In 1952, the Great London Smog enveloped families posing beside wagons. Coal smoke killed thousands. Government response was delayed. Police maintained order amid reduced visibility. The image documents environmental disaster normalized until mortality forced reform, revealing how harm must accumulate before authority responds. A 1924 photograph shows elegantly dressed people beneath a street lamp on a foggy evening. Urban nightlife expanded despite pollution and crime. Law enforcement prioritized visibility, not prevention. The image documents social ritual continuing uninterrupted, revealing how cities adapt culturally while postponing structural solutions. In November 1944, a German anti-aircraft emplacement occupies a public bandstand in the Netherlands. Police evacuated residents under threat. Civil spaces became strategic assets. The photograph documents how occupation rewrites geography, converting familiar landmarks into instruments of control without regard for communal memory. A 1934 photograph shows acrobats balancing atop the Empire State Building during construction. There are no harnesses, only trust and repetition. Safety regulations were minimal, enforced after fatalities rather than before. The image documents spectacle built on risk, revealing how modern skylines rose through normalized danger, absorbed by anonymous laborers. In 1905, a photographer captured Fifth Avenue looking north from above street level. Horse-drawn traffic mixes with early automobiles. Police regulated flow inconsistently. The image documents transition without coordination, revealing how urban modernity emerged unevenly, layered atop existing systems not yet designed to coexist safely or efficiently. A 1938 photograph shows sharecropper housing near Charleston, South Carolina. These structures were employer-owned, enforcing dependence. Sheriffs upheld contract disputes favoring landowners. The image documents poverty engineered through legal arrangements, revealing how post-slavery labor systems preserved inequality under the appearance of lawful employment. In 1920, Russian and American soldiers are photographed together following World War I. Diplomatic relations were unstable. Intelligence agencies monitored such interactions closely. The image documents temporary alignment shaped by necessity rather than trust, revealing how alliances often exist briefly before ideological separation hardens into policy. A 1945 photograph shows a soldier returning home, bending to meet his daughter's gaze. The moment appears complete. It was not. Veterans returned with trauma and limited support. Law enforcement recorded benefits claims. The image documents reunion without resolution, capturing how war's consequences persist quietly after ceremonies end. In 1908, a photographer and assistant attempt to capture the Grand Canyon from a precarious ledge. There are no guardrails. Park authorities were newly established. The image documents exploration preceding regulation, revealing how preservation followed risk, not prevention, in America's early national parks. A 1892 photograph shows a hot potato vendor on Manhattan streets. These vendors sold food and warmth simultaneously. Police tolerated them selectively. The image documents informal economies sustaining the poor, revealing how survival industries thrived where formal employment and social support were insufficient or absent. In 1934, a postman sits atop a basket carrier tricycle in England. Postal service expanded faster than infrastructure. Traffic laws adapted slowly. The image documents public service improvisation, revealing how essential systems often function through individual adaptation rather than institutional readiness during periods of rapid change. A 1949 photograph shows Irish travelers in the southern United States. They were frequently mistaken for vagrants and detained. Law enforcement enforced residency suspicion. The image documents mobility treated as threat, revealing how movement itself often triggered surveillance when identity fell outside established social categories. In July 1949, crowds gather at Coney Island, Brooklyn, during Independence Day celebrations. The image suggests leisure and unity. Policing focused on order, not access. Segregation persisted quietly. The photograph documents national celebration layered over exclusion, revealing how freedom was publicly performed while privately limited. A 1925 photograph shows an immigrant family standing on the Ellis Island dock, facing Manhattan's skyline. Their expressions are restrained, not celebratory. Federal inspectors determined their fate within hours. Many were rejected for medical or financial reasons. The image documents anticipation under authority, where opportunity depended entirely on bureaucratic judgment. In 1911, Niagara Falls froze solid, attracting crowds who stood directly on the ice. Police attempted crowd control after collapses killed several spectators. Warnings followed deaths, not before. The photograph documents spectacle overriding caution, revealing how public fascination repeatedly outruns institutional responsibility during rare natural events. A 1930 photograph shows a water-damaged copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Flooding destroyed thousands of books annually in working-class homes. Insurance rarely covered losses. The image documents cultural deprivation caused by poverty, revealing how access to literature was fragile, easily erased by environmental neglect and inadequate housing. In 1906, Harlem shop owner stands outside his store, photographed during segregation-era New York. Black-owned businesses faced targeted inspections and loan denials. Police enforced zoning selectively. The image documents entrepreneurship under pressure, revealing how economic independence existed despite systemic obstruction rather than because of equal opportunity. A 1931 photograph shows men whistling as a woman walks past. The behavior appears trivial. It was not. Street harassment was normalized and unregulated. Police ignored complaints. The image documents everyday intimidation embedded into public life, revealing how women navigated cities shaped by tolerated aggression rather than protection. In 1955, inventor Charles S. L. Baker demonstrates a radiator heating system. Industrial innovation advanced faster than safety standards. Inspectors approved systems inconsistently. The image documents optimism tied to technology, revealing how progress was often tested on the public before long-term consequences were fully understood or regulated. A 1940 photograph shows a man labeled "Keep Calm and Carry On" during the London Blitz. The slogan concealed fear and exhaustion. Civil defense officers managed morale alongside rubble. The image documents resilience framed as duty, revealing how emotional endurance was demanded as much as physical survival. In 1918, a Harlem Hellfighters soldier holds a puppy rescued during World War I. The regiment faced segregation despite frontline service. Military police enforced racial boundaries. The image documents humanity amid contradiction, revealing how compassion persisted even when institutions denied equality to those risking their lives. A 1960 photograph shows a woman and her baby waiting at Penn Station. The space was designed for transit, not rest. Police discouraged loitering. The image documents motherhood within motion, revealing how caregiving often unfolded in transient spaces shaped by schedules, not human need. In 1935, Oklahoma residents displaced by Dust Bowl migration are photographed roadside. Wind erosion destroyed livelihoods. Law enforcement redirected migrants away from towns. The image documents environmental collapse, turning farmers into refugees, revealing how natural disaster and policy combined to dismantle rural stability permanently.